Hello, today I'm joined by Frankie Foster to go through this weekend's 7 races on the ITV7 free-to-play game. And hopefully we can come up with some winners to help you land the £50,000 jackpot on offer this weekend. By joining our free-to-play ITV7 league this weekend, you'll then be in the league for Cheltenham Week to compete for a £100 cash prize each day, alongside over £1 million in total jackpot prizes up for grabs across the week, and an extra £500,000 on the final day of the Cheltenham Festival if managing to land the Gold Cup. So, Frankie, turning our attention to this weekend's racing, the first race we're going to look at is the Grade 3 Handicap Hurdle Final for novices at Sandown over 2 miles, 3.5 furlongs. Who took your eye in this race?
A couple, isn't there? I was just about to say I need to get myself entered with all this prize money. And hopefully I can select some winners for us and for whoever's watching. Paul Nicholls has got a noticeable charge at Sandown. He's sending a lot of runners in classic Paul Nicholls style. I guess he cherry picks a few for Cheltenham, but he always makes a point of saying it's not the be all and end all of his season. And I'm sure he will be looking to pick up winners elsewhere over the next few weeks. That's for sure. Nappers Hill was the first I looked at, but I'm gonna settle with a Dan Skelton trained Our Jet. I think this horse is just slightly better handicapped, slightly less exposed. It's only had 4 runs over hurdles and hasn't done a whole lot wrong really, and has gone off very, very short. 9 to 4, 2 to 5, 5 to 6, albeit it was beat 9 to 4, but that was in a decent race. And I just think at the weights, official rating of 122, this must have a chance. Some noticeable form, albeit early on, might be behind Hillcrest, who is looking like favourite for the Albert Bartlett. And then, as I said, hasn't done much wrong in his last 2 starts. And again, want to maybe point out on its most recent run, Rafferty's Return and Our Jet went clear by 20 of the rest, albeit not the strongest of races. But if you're going to win your race and be 20 clear of the rest of the field, then it's another tick in Our Jet's box. So yeah, that'll be the one for me for the Skelton team.
Yeah, definitely a big chance. I'm going to side with Marble Sands for Fergal O'Brien. Really smart bumper horse, only won one of the first 4 races, and it was at Ascot in its bumper days. But this season's been sent hurdling. Its 3 runs shows really big ability, I think. Finished a length second on debut behind Milan Bridge for Paul Nicholls. It looks quite a nice horse for Trevor Hemmings. He then finished a close-up 3rd behind another Nicholls horse in Mr. Glass, who then went on to running Grade 1 company. Not to the best of its ability, but I think it's definitely a better horse than that. And then last time out, Marble Sands was seen at Taunton, finishing another close-up 2nd behind King of the West, who he takes on again in this. But this time, he's much better off at the weights with the horse. Paddy Brennan rides, great rider, off a mark of 119. I think down the bottom of the weights, looks like could run a really big race. And I think it's quite a nice price, Marble Sands. I think it's definitely got the potential to land a race like this. So I'll be with Marble Sands. Moving on to a bit of flat racing, which is a bit unorthodox for us when we've been talking about a lot of jumps racing over the last few weeks. But the 1405 at Wolves, Mansion Bet Lincoln Trial Handicap over 8.5 furlongs. Who have you pinned down in this one?
Yeah, again, I was looking at 2 and very different horses in Latihati and United Front. Latihati being the unexposed up-and-coming horse and United Front being the more experienced campaigner. I think Latihati, for me, has just won his races in a manner that looks exciting and looks like there's more improvement to come. Again, well supported in the market, and just the jockey on board. I'm not just looking now who rode last time out. Jack Mitchell last time out didn't seem to have to do an awful lot to get this horse going, and he just looks better the further he goes. This is slightly further again, and I think it's an exciting horse with more to come. So I'd be siding with the young up and coming Latihati.
Yeah, definitely got a big chance. Roger Varian, great trainer, and looking for a 5-timer. You can't really look away from that horse. I am going to try and take it on though. I'm I am going to try and find. I think if you look at the latter half, he will probably go off favourite. But I think HAFEET ALAIN for Ed Walker. The 6-year-old's form figures of 2-2-3-1 its last 4 runs. Very consistent horse. Last time out, winning over a mile at Lingfield, and it saw off a nice horse for Archie Watson. Archie Watson's great round Lingfield, really. So I think that was quite telling. Only £4 higher for this race today. Richard Kingsgoat, great jockey on the all-weather, really good record around Wolverhampton. And if staying on an upward curve off only £4 higher, I think HAFEET ALAIN's got a big chance. You also look at the trainer, Ed Walker, and jockey Richard Kingsgoat, running at 20% and 21% strike rates respectively going into the weekend at the moment. So I think at a slightly better price, I'd say at this moment in time, has got a big chance to land back-to-back wins.
The only race that was a length behind Latte as well, and has since won.
Yes.
So
yeah, exactly.
We're taking that form quite strongly, and they were 4 lengths clear of the rest and look the best 2 in that race for sure. So
exactly. I was just looking, and with Latte, I know got a £5 claim on, offsetting that slight bit away. I just think this HAFEET ALAIN could put it up to maybe at a slightly better price. But again, I think that those 2 are the ones to pick out in the market, definitely. The only race on ITV7's free-to-play game this weekend from air is the 14:10 Class 4 handicap chase over 2 miles, 4.5 furlongs. Quite a really tricky race, isn't it, Frankie? Who did you come down on in this one?
I was hoping you'd come to this last, so I could just flick through in the background and try and pick one out, because this is a tricky one to find a winner in. There's a few different angles, and there's bits of form that line up between Royal Arcade, Got Trumped, a finish behind a similar horse off of varying weights. The one I ended up on was First Account, who's just been running in slightly better races, and has probably been unlucky not to get his nose in front the last twice, or was well beaten last time, but the time before, and off a pretty low mark of 1-2-2. James, I like a horse that has finished second the last couple of times in a handicap. He ticks that box for me. So yeah, not a whole lot of chasing experience, maybe a fair, or let's say a decent mark for him to have a go at of 1-2-2. So such a tricky one. I went backwards and forwards on a couple. ARDERA Cross was another I quite liked, but First Account, with Brian Hughes on board as well, you couldn't have a man to ride many more winners in the north of England. So if there was a man to get a job done in a race where I can't find much I like, I'll take my chances with Brian Hughes.
Yeah, definitely a big chance. I think, like, if you look, any 7 runners, First Account was on my radar, but the one you mentioned second time, ARDERA Cross, is who I'm going to side with in this one. If you look at its form round air, it's absolutely remarkable. I know 11-year-old now, but really does seem to like this track, whether it's over 2 mile or this trip. And of late, seemed to got back onto form. The penny seemed to drop a bit over fences, winning twice at air over 2.5 furlong. Although it has been on heavy ground and probably won't be heavy ground, I'm not sure really. On Saturday, looks more like it's going to be soft ground. Could get to heavy, but looks more like it's going to be soft. Still, we'll handle that. Which the similar conditions will help for the hat-trick run. I just really like its form around air, and looking at the race, it doesn't look the strongest event. It does need to handle a slight slip back up in trip, having been running over the 2 mile before that, but it's only got £6 for its latest win. And off its current mark, I think it's a much better horse than what it is. So
between us, we might, if we know what we're on about, it might be going all right. We've had the same 2 horses on the same horse for the first 3, so fingers crossed.
Well, we'll move on to the next race, and I think this is probably one of the trickiest races. I think 22 have been declared for this, so very tricky to find the winner, but we're going to try anyway. 14:25 Sandown. I think it's the feature race of the day in the UK. Grade 3 Imperial Handicap Hurdle, over 2 miles. 22 runners. Frankie, find the winner.
God. Does BALCO still run here? Does he go to Cheltenham?
He does.
He does.
I think I'll be surprised if it doesn't off its mark. I know it was rumoured, wasn't it, for the county?
Yeah.
And it has been entered in this race. Looking at it, let me just look through.
holds a few entries, but looks like it will run
Yeah,
here.
it does look like it'll run here, and currently it's 7-2 favourite at the top of the market. So
I'm
yeah, I
seeing
think it does.
92. So if you could get 92, I'd back it at 92. I think I would have
92.
BALCO Coastal. That most recent form at Cheltenham behind North Lodge, who went on to come second at Kelso behind Nelson. There's a little bit of loose form that ties in with a couple of runners behind John Bon as well. I think off of form and definitely off of a rating of 134, it's got to have a chance. It's ran in some strong races, and the mark probably is where it is because it is a lot more unexposed than many of the other horses. So given that, I think in a handicap like this is probably its best chance to win. Another I liked, I think it only holds an entry here, was One More for the Road. I better say that because that's what I told you before, so I'll be going back on my word, but I wasn't sure if BALCO Coastal was going to run. Great form at Ascot. I think that was a really competitive handicap when he comes second to Tritonic. And I remember that day Adrian Heskey getting off Tritonic and in the interview said how impressed and pleased they were with him that day. And it was almost as if they'd been waiting to get him right. And he had been slightly underperforming, so ran off with a decent mark. And the penny kind of dropped for Tritonic that day and won well. But I think that's some real strong form to go off. Ran off of 136 that day and only goes off of 137 on Saturday. So only up £1 for what I think was an impressive second in a strongly ran and a competitive handicap. So One More for the Road would be another from me.
Well, you know what? I've got exactly the same two.
Good man.
You know what? BALCO Coastal.
Stealing notes.
Road. I did actually look at this before the prices came out, but you do have like preview prices of what's going to come out. But I am going to stick with BALCO Coastal going singly for that. But I do think One for the Road's definitely one, currently 6-7 to 1 each way, that I'll be very surprised if he doesn't finish out the frame. But I'm going to stick with BALCO Coastal for very similar reasons you did. When I saw BALCO Coastal run in a bumper last season, won by 17 lengths, and I thought, bloody hell, this is a seriously good horse. And then he went to Aintree, finished 7th of 18 behind the likes of Stage Star, Nappers Hill. They've turned out to be really good horses. Like Stage Star has gone on to win a Challow, has got a big chance in the Ballymore. But over hurdles this season, BALCO Coastal won its first 2 outings at Huntington and Ludlow for stepping up in trip at Cheltenham, where he maybe didn't stay the trip as well as many would have thought. Still finished a good second, as you said, to North Lodge, and North Lodge's run at Kelso, very unlucky to get beat by a short head last weekend. Its mark of 134 is just remarkable. I'm surprised they haven't saved it for the county at Cheltenham, but that also, in a sense, does say, well, why is it coming here? If it's coming here, it's like it's going to go really well. I think that's a big telling factor. And I just think, even though it's at the top of the market in a big fielded race, and I know you should probably look for value elsewhere, I just think this horse could be that well handicapped. It could be very, very tough to beat. And in a way,
be coming here for a day out to fill the Cheltenham pot to kick on into next week.
Exactly. And I just think, it's got a really good chance. I'll give a shout out for One More for the Road, but BALCO Coastal will be my selection in this. Back onto the last race at Wolves on the ITV7's game on Saturday. It's a 1440 at Wolves, and it's their feature race. It's the listed Lady Wolferina Stakes that, for many, is seen as a race that can start to kickstart the flat season, get it back into it. The Lincoln, the big one, really, in a few weeks. But this race does see some nice horses go to post. Frankie, who have you come down on?
In this, I'm just flicking through again to make sure I've got this right. Yeah, there was 2 I was looking at. Hopefully, or maybe not hopefully, the same 2 as you again. But they were Highfield Princess and Happy Power. Happy Power putting in some solid performances in many group races. Has won, I think, a Group 2, Group 3. Is a consistent performer. The worry would be first time on the all-weather and first time, not first time this season, but first time on the all-weather. The other that I mentioned, Highfield Princess, on the flip side, has had a recent run which wasn't very impressive, 3rd at Chelmsford. But if you look back to last season, First run of the year in May, was second, and then went on to win impressively next time out. So likely just needed the run at Chelmsford a few weeks ago. And out of the two, with the all-weather form, with a run under its bout in Feb, a run on the all-weather most recently, I think Highfield Princess could get the job done here. I think this is a real competitive one. I struggle to pick one out here, but if I had to, and I do have to settle on one, it would be Highfield Princess. Yeah,
Highfield Princess definitely got a good chance. If it gets back to its form of winning the Buckingham Palace Stakes at Royal Ascot, it's definitely got a big chance. I'm going for horses for courses in this one with Misty Grey. Very progressive horse for Tom Dascombe, 100% record at the track, racing 4 times, winning all 4 times between 7 furlongs and 6 furlongs. Winning on Boxing Day at Wolverhampton over 7 furlongs in a decent handicap event. Only just got up, beating Air Harbour that day, who reopposes. And that day, Misty Grey was nearly giving away a stone to Air Harbour, where in this race they'll be off level weights. I think that's quite telling. So I couldn't have Air Harbour for that reason, and very much behind Misty Grey. Last time out, go on, sorry.
I was going to say, if Latihati or HAFEET ALAIN win, that's a tick in the box for your selection here, isn't it? Second behind Latihati.
Exactly. Yeah, I was literally just about to say.
Sorry, I beat you to
it. Like, it's last time out against Kempton was a solid second, wasn't it? Over a mile behind Latihati, who we've also talked about. I do think coming back down to 7 furlong, it's Misty Grey's trip. Highly consistent at this track. It's just whether able to really cut it at listed level. But I can't disagree with how good it is around Wolverhampton. Hasn't got that bad a draw really, and I think it's got a really big chance. So now moving back onto the Sandown, and this looks a really nice race actually. One more for looking forward towards the future. 3 o'clock at Sandown. It's the listed mares bumper over 2 miles. Who you come down on in this one?
Will MULLENBEC run here? I think so.
Well, this is another thing. MULLENBEC looks the one to beat, doesn't it? And I know it's in the champion bumper as well, but I think it will run here.
Yeah, that would be the angle I'd take. If she runs, that would be my selection. The one I might be worried about, I mean, a lot of these have run in that same race, the bumper at Cheltenham in January, Trials Day. A lot of them have come out of that race. The one that didn't, or something went wrong maybe with, was Fergal's Hidden Beauty, who just, I don't know what went wrong that way, but they pulled her up and did go off at 7-2, I think. I'm just looking at it now. Yeah, MULLENBEC 8-1, Hidden Beauty 7-2. So off of market support, I know that Fergal has been getting a lot of market support at bumpers at Cheltenham, and rightly so, because he keeps winning them. But off of what the market said and the fact that we didn't get to see the full story with Hidden Beauty, I'd be slightly worried. But off of what we know, MULLENBEC did look very impressive when she won that day. Travelled well, which you want to see on the flat, and the jockey didn't have to get going until too late, really. Was cruising for a long way. So I'd say, yeah, MULLENBEC definitely the one to beat.
Yeah, I'll come down on the same horse here. MULLENBEC definitely the one to beat. Milton Harris had an absolutely great season as a trainer this year, and he looks to have a really nice mare to go forward with. Making a Royals debut at Ludlow on soft ground. She won by just over 6 lengths, and it's very, very easy. Back that up at Cheltenham last time out in the listed Alan Swinbank mares bumper that was usually at Market Raisin but was moved. Both her runs have been very impressive, and I don't think we've seen her ceiling yet, and she definitely sets the form standard. And again, like we said, if she improves again, she'd be very tough to beat. If she doesn't run and does go to the champion hurdle, and look, we don't know yet. We have got the decks out, and she is running at this moment in time. But if it was a move to the champion bumper at the Cheltenham Festival instead, I think, like you say, Hidden Beauty's got a big chance. We don't know how good she really is off the back of her last run, but her win the first day out was brilliant. And also for Fairy Jumper,
Ever Grace is quite interesting, giving her an RPR of 111 first time out, and then bombing a bit last time.
Yeah, look, you can never rule out the Mullins horse bringing it over, can you? You can never never rule it out. But I like, just to put up another one, if Mullenbeck didn't, Fairy Gem finished second behind it at Cheltenham.
Yeah.
It's standout form in the race. But if all goes to plan and all runners do run, Mullenbeck is very hard to beat. And like we talked about with BALCO Coastal, coming here and not going to Cheltenham is very, very telling. And it looks like they want to pick up a fairly nice pot. So moving on to the last race on the ITV7 game this weekend. It's a 15:35 at Sandown, the listed novices handicap chase over 2 mile 4. Who's your selection in this one, Frankie?
I'm strangely going for top and bottom of the market here. Both Nichols horses, Danny KIRWAN at the top of the market, about 11 to 4, and I actually struggle to say this one, but Flicko Voyu with Frankie Foster riding at the bottom, 10 to 1. Besides the two I've mentioned, a lot of these are horses that have won last time out by a decent distance, but have been hiked up in the weights as a result. And none of them stood out to me as really impressive winners. And none of the races seem to be of a high standard. And I think maybe they've got away with a win in a handicap off of a low mark, and their mark might catch up with them in what's a stronger race. And that's why I've gone with the two, Danny KIRWAN and Flicko. Sorry, my camera's gone there. Voyu, because they've done the opposite. Danny KIRWAN, a solid enough performer and stays around the same mark for winning last time. But the one I'm more interested in is the 10 to 1 shot with Bryony on board, which, I mean, as far as jockeys go, wouldn't be a bad thing. I think this is overpriced and down a pound from last time out. If you look at its hurdle mark, ran to the highest hurdle mark out of any of these, 138. Hasn't been chasing long. 3 chase starts, one of which, the first chase start, it got thrown in at 1.3. Well, not thrown in, it got given a mark of 1.36, which is steep enough behind Manila Drama, who's come out and won a Grade 2 since. Won the next time out by 8 lengths against Jackamar. And then I was trying to find an excuse for coming third last time out, and I couldn't. So we'll just have to take it on a bit of hope that it bounces back, because it wasn't very impressive last time out, but as a result has maybe been given a decent mark. So I think it's massively overpriced. Flicko Voyu ran to the best hurdle mark out of all of these. 3 chase starts, one of which was behind a graded horse. The next it won by 8, and last time out is probably why it is 10 to 1. So I'm just hoping that was an off day. Yeah,
you made a very strong case for that. I'm going for the other Nichols one that you mentioned, Danny KIRWAN.
Top and bottom.
Yeah, I just think I think this is a perfect bit of placing by Nichols for this horse. I do think Danny KIRWAN needs to have quite a lot right going for it to win. If you look through its career, quite a decent hurdles horse, and it's done really well chasing this season. Good second on seasonal debut to a nice horse, Chris Gordon, Annual Invictus. That was at Cheltenham. That was a great run. Then went on to Kempton next time out and faded into 4th. But if you actually look at the horses that went on to finish ahead of it, they're really nice horses. Last time out, got off the Marco offences at Wincanton in what was a bit of a confidence booster in a 4-runner race, winning easily by 10 lengths. I thought the way it jumped that day, every single time it's ran, it's jumped really much better. Still only on a mark of 136, which is £4 higher than what it was last time. It's still improving. If it jumped as good as it did the last day, it has to go close. And I think with only 6 runners in the field, it's a nice bit of placing by Nichols. And like you said at the top of the show, he sent quite a good team here. I think he's looking to pick up some money ahead of Cheltenham, where he hasn't got that many runners this year. I think Danny KIRWAN's got a really, really big chance. So thank Frankie for all your insight and selections for Saturday's ITV7 free-to-play game. We hope we've picked out some winners. Seems to be a very tricky card, but we're looking
it's
to
a
fill...
tough one to get started with.
Yeah, definitely. But we're looking to fill the pockets of everyone just before Cheltenham. And obviously, if we do have some winners, and remember to like the video and subscribe to the Winners in Clover channel. There's plenty of other content live across the channel with me, Frankie, and other guests talking all things Cheltenham. And also, don't forget to get involved with the ITV7 competition this weekend, which will get you set up in our league ahead of the festival next week. So good luck to everyone this weekend and across Cheltenham. And Frankie, thanks again for your insight.
Thank you for having me.